क्या कहा आपने? बड़े बड़े देशों में ऐसी छोटी छोटी बातें होती रहती हैं।
Welcome to the event. I'm just gonna go ahead and get started with the proceedings now. But before I start, I just quickly wanna narrate a very small story. So few months back, last year, when all of us actually started moving towards normalization past the COVID era, I happened to be attending an EdTech event, right? It was actually in Mumbai, and what I did there was I happened to come across a very few amazing people there, very few amazing conversations there. One of the conversation really stayed with me even when I came back from there. I met a very nice gentleman and fantastic person. The passion with which he used to explain, right, how technology is gonna define the complete education game, not just in India, but globally over the next 5 years, and how just the kind of conversation we were just having with Sachin, right? That how edutech has been the fulcrum of entire education industry in the last 5 years, how people have actually started shifting to e-learning, digital education, how things have been transforming. So just the kind of passion, just the kind of enthusiasm with which this gentleman had been explaining these things to me really stayed with me. And of course, through the course of that conversation, I became really good friends with him. I happened to know about the kind of amazing work he had been doing, the kind of incredible journey that person had been having, right? He had worked in Unilever Limited, he had worked in Mindshare, he had worked with Colgate-Palmolive, and very recently for the last 5-6 years, he had been working with BYJU'S, and he had brought around this amazing transformation. He had launched Disney's BYJU'S Early Learn. He had a very close friend and an amazing person, a very respectable person in the community, and somebody I personally look forward to. So Atit, welcome to the event. Thank you so much for agreeing to take us through the entire journey of how BYJU'S has built his brand. With that, I would want everybody to please extend a warm welcome to Mr. Atit.
Thank you, Dave. Thank you very much. And thank you, everybody, for taking out time on a Saturday morning. I heard all the introductions and you put a lot of pressure. I hope I'm able to at least fulfill all your understanding, expectation. But this is going to be a sort of a fun ride. It's going to be a story. It's going to be a lot of videos, a lot of pictures. It's all about how we started, what challenges we faced, what happened, how did we overcome those challenges, and eventually where we landed over the last 4-5 years. It's more like an infographic, and in this entire infographic, which I'll be talking about the next 45 to 55 minutes, it's all about creating brand love and making the brand a household name, which wasn't the case. If you look at 8-10 years ago, there was nothing like EdTech, there was nothing like online education. As the category started, it was very nascent. There was a lot of inertia of people thinking about studying online. BYJU'S comes in with a lot of aspiration, comes in with a lot of technology, creates the type of content which is loved by students. And then the opportunity was there to tell your story and see how we can make students fall in love with learning. And that's what I'm going to talk about. So let's start. Okay, so it's all started in the year 2015. It was around April, May, wherein BYJU'S initially was all about physical classroom. The founder, CEO, BYJU'S himself was a teacher. He used to teach CAT aspirants, and a lot of students used to go to him. He started a journey with teaching some friends. Friends became for more friends, and then friends of friends came in, then a small classroom to a bigger classroom to an auditorium, and finally he was conducting maths, and primarily maths in stadiums where you had about 4,000-5,000 students coming and attending his session for 3-4 hours. He used to always call this it's like a festival. It's a concert of education. And then when the internet boom started, around 2013-14, when you also saw the big players like Amazon, Flipkart, Snapdeal, all these guys coming into the country, the device cost started coming down, the data cost became really, really cheap. So the entire country started moving into a digital screen, and that's the time he thought about making this entire journey of a physical teaching into an online teaching. So he worked for about a year and a half to set the product right, to put the tech in place. And around April, May, we had the test app, or the BYJU'S, the learning app, ready for grade 7 to 9, and the beta testing was happening. Since he had an established business in teaching, we had 3 or 4 term sheets in terms of capital. And as we started the journey and all of us came together, the number one objective was to target to achieve approximately 1 million downloads within the first 100 days of launch in about 8 to 10 cities. And as you know how difficult it is to get things organized on Apple. So Android was ready and we were awaiting the app approval from iOS, but we went ahead and started the journey with Android being ready. And somewhere around mid of September is what we agreed that we will be ready. Everybody was working 24/7, burning the midnight oil to put the launch in place. So we had to put a date in place, and then 15 September was there. And there was some reason, because somebody said in our organization that this 15 September is very auspicious. And all of us, at the end of the day, if somebody comes and tells us that this is a good day to start something new, you then fix that date. So that's exactly what we did. So 15 September, it was when we decided that we will go mass. And that's the time the first marketing communication idea came. Yeah. So what was the scenario? It was the BYJU'S classes, which were physical classes, and we were moving to BYJU'S, the learning app. Yeah, it was an offline business. The teachers and BYJU'S himself were teachers traveling from one city to other city, conducting classes, physical in nature, to a completely new concept, which is online e-learning and what we now say edtech. Yeah. The awareness was practically zero, because how many students can one have in a classroom? 100, 200, and then when he used to go and conduct sessions in stadiums, it was 3,000-4,000. So hardly anybody knew us, and there was no awareness. And what we had to talk about is aided awareness and discovery of the brand. The people should start discovering what the brand is. People should start understanding what the category is. People should start understanding what the brand has to offer. And there was absolutely zero communication. And we had to be, not for the sake of being differentiated, but we had to be differentiated and have to create, as we always say in advertising, that it's not about always creating memorable communication, but somewhere you'll have to create a right balance in terms of being differentiated, being functional in what you have to say, and also create a memorable communication where people can remember you even after advertising stops. But that was all said, easier said than done. We did a lot of work, lot of research, did a lot of competitive study, and we studied the competition. And what we realized is that BYJU'S as a product was not about results. I didn't want to go and say that study with BYJU'S and tomorrow you will become a topper in the class. And that's exactly what competition was doing. If you look at all the competitive ads at that point in time, and this is 2015, so there was no advertising on television, there was no advertising on digital. It was primarily newspaper ads and hoardings. So everybody used to say best results, both in terms of quality and quantity. They used to come and say that, come and join my class. Or last year, this many people joined my class and this many people got an all India rank. And they will talk about the power of their coaching institute, how powerful that institute is. And somewhere it also went to a degree of, playing the other person down. And people used to come and say that this is the only institute who can come and prepare you for a competitive exam. So everybody was talking the same thing. If you just remove the brand names, over here you see a couple of images of Alan or Sharda classes, or you take any other advertising, you can look it up on Google and you will see everybody looks the same. And you remove the brand name and you cannot differentiate that which educational institute is advertising what. So we did a massive 3-4 months of extensive competitive study to understand what competition is doing. And then going back to the earlier point that we cannot be in the same boat while we are still talking education, and we have to be differentiated. So by doing this, the typical marketing exercise, which one ends up doing, that where does your sweet spot identify? So competition was talking about achievements and top rankers. Everything was an output based. Come to me, score better. Come to me, you will score first. Come to me, your marks will improve. So exam output was the testimony for everybody. And come to me, come to my classes and get a seat in a professional course, get a seat in IIT, get a seat in NEET, get a seat in a top MBA college, so on and so forth. And it was all built on negative approach, fear psychology, that if you don't come to me, you will not do well. And as parents, when somebody comes and tells us that, listen here, if you don't send your kid to so-and-so school or to a so-and-so teacher, he will not do well in life. She will not do well in class. That school is better. So there's a lot of fear psychology, which the competition was doing. And then here enters a brand which had nothing to lose, coming on a completely clean slate. And we had a paradigm shift in the way education was spoken to, from output to conceptual learning, from learning with the teacher at the classroom to learning at home, learning on a blackboard to a learning on an audio video. So I say, whenever I speak, I was speaking at a forum and I said, it is all about the journey can be summarized in one line. It's a blackboard to a digital screen. We have all studied looking at the blackboard, and today's generation, today's people are studying looking at a digital screen. And it was all about personalized learning. Think about it, in a classroom of about 50, 60, 100 students. Every student is not the same. From output, the way I understand things, maybe not the way you might be understanding. I might be slow, you might be fast. I understand physics better, you might be understanding chemistry better. But the teacher will go as per the schedule. The teacher will go as per the pace. So it was absolutely non-personalized, and then blackboard to a digital screen. We came in with conceptual learning, learn at home, and through audio video, and very personalized looking at a digital. And that's where the core ethos of the brand evolved, which was like, we have to make people fall in love with learning. And as creative experts come, so the whole thing is, how do we make people start loving studies? How do we make education fun? And the creative rendition of that was come fall in love with learning. Yeah. So now we are in September 2015. All this work is happening between April, May, June, July, August, September. Yeah. So the challenge was we have to move from an offline brand to an online brand. J2BD stands for jobs to be done. Let the world know, very simple. Let the world know that there is an e-learning app, exactly like a shopping app, exactly like a travel booking or a hotel booking app. There is a learning app called BYJU'S. And as I said, the insight was that make students fall in love with learning. So the communication had to speak that thing, the tonality had to be there. It had to be very, very soft. And somebody mentioned in the introduction, while the consumers are going to be students, the customers are going to be parents. So we had a dual responsibility that we need to make parents realize the importance of learning and also make the child fall in love with learning. So parents and child. So the communication was a bit tricky. It was very strategic in nature. And then this is what we created. So this is the first creative, and this is the first advertising which got played out in 2015 for BYJU'S.
Love, पता नहीं शुरू में we hated each other.
You should drive me mad. कब start हुआ? Our first class together.
My friends tease me, but I don't care.
Love. Yeah, we think so. Too young? No. You say. No, you say.
Okay, together. 1, 2, 3, math, chemistry, physics forever.
I love maths this much.
Come fall in love with learning with BYJU'S, the learning app.
Take a square, join the 4 points. Push this up, push this to the left, and bring this down. So A square plus B square equal to C square. And that's the Pythagoras theorem.
Download BYJU'S, the learning app, today.
See now the tonality, the softness of this entire thing. You are making kids, because at that age, people are talking about what we'll be doing, how I have my likes and my dislikes. Everybody starts forming an opinion, because at 10, 12 years, kids start becoming independent. So this was about being very, very inclusive with the kids, talking about that how they can start falling in love with math, science, physics, chemistry. And that's the way we started our entire communication. Yeah. So what happened while we launched our first communication, our target was to achieve 1 million downloads on Android. Apple had not yet started in the first 100 days of the launch. So there was a massive search in queries, and slowly and gradually, the first baby steps were taken to discovering the brand. Yeah. So we started seeing a growth in downloads. But like every business, we faced our first challenge. What was our challenge? Well, all this thing is fine. Advertising is running. People are appreciating. People started asking, what is this BYJU'S? Kahan se aaya hua hai? Oh, it's an Indian company. Oh, it's an international company. All random conversation, good, bad, ugly, were happening. But in all these things, the organic download started slowing down. And again, we went into a massive understanding in terms of why that is happening. So what we found out is that parents were raising concern that we don't want our child to spend lot of time on the mobile screen, on the tablet, on the laptop. So screen time was becoming an issue, and there was no way out. We had to address the problem without antagonizing the parents and still drive the core messaging that, hey parent, it is always better to let your child be on a screen and look at educational content than looking at content which you don't want them to look at. So you are not trying to antagonize the parent, but creating a sort of an environment that parents also become part of your journey. And that's the reason we had to quickly shift approach and put the next advertising. And as I said, massive research was done that why parents are showing a concern. And addressing the parents' concern, the challenge was parents feel that kids are spending too much of time playing mobile games. They're watching a lot of YouTube content. And now you want us to make them study on online. So I don't want them to spend so much of time on the screen. The job to be done was to make the parent realize that your child can learn from a mobile device, and that is good learning, that is good time spent. And the insight was, somewhere we found that insight, the consumer insight, that parents will not mind giving their mobile phone for kids for education. They have problem with a mobile game. They have a problem with they watching some content. But if it's education, I don't see any parent not allowing their kid. And that's exactly what helped us to draft the next communication. So let me play the second creative. This is the second advertising which happened in about 3-4 months after the first advertising.
Mom, Dad think all I do is play video games.
My dad now.
अब देखना चेक करने के लिए डैड को भेजेंगी.
Mom is here again.
Now watch this. 3, 2, 1.
Physics, Dad.
It's biology.
It's chemistry, Dad.
Why it's maths?
Take a circle, fill it with circles. Cut and open. Outer circle is a line now of length 2 pi r. Lines above shorter and shorter till it's a triangle with area pi r square.
Come fall in love with learning. Download BYJU'S, the learning app.
The core has to remain the same. We have to make students fall in love with learning. So everything, this was addressing the parents' concern, and if the parents' concerns are addressed, the parent allows the child using a mobile phone, the household is falling in love with learning, and that's exactly what we attempted. And this helped. The messaging helped, and growth was back on track. And once, and as see, we are all business people, we are all entrepreneurs, and whenever we see growth and we do something, a very concentrated effort, and then you see the output, there is a great amount of excitement, and that's exactly we also went through. We started on a high, then it was a flat line as far growth is concerned, but the second communication, as we addressed the concerns, we were back on track. Yeah. And what also happened, a lot of people say that marketing has played a big role in BYJU'S success. A lot of people say the teachers are outstanding. A lot of people say the tech is great, but a lot of people don't realize that everything is fine, but having capital at the right time is also very, very critical. Since we were on the growth trajectory, we had a lot of investments coming in, and marquee investors, you name the investor, and he or she was waiting to be on the cap table. Yeah. So growth led to investments. And from a consumer point of view, what happened is, what always happens, we have seen it in our own respective profiles and business, there are early majority and there is a late majority. And there is a huge, tail of laggards who you tell them, you go and talk to them like 10,000 times, they will just not come into your category. They will just not even try you out once, because they feel this is not for me, this is not for my daughter, this is for the neighbor's daughter. So a lot of people whom we got, the top 5%, the top 3% of India population we got. But what about the laggards? We had to do it because that's the belly of the population. The Indian so-called middle class, some 150, 200 million households, some 250 million kids, 300 million kids, rural India, they were just not coming on to us. We had to do something extraordinary. We had to do something completely different to get the belly of the population, the laggards of the tech ecosystem to come onto the fold. And how to get the masses to adopt the product? It was very, very critical. We did that. Parallelly, we had a sort of a change in our approach. We moved. Earlier, we used to call up people. They download the app, you have to register, you get their telephone number, and then our sales organization used to call them up and try to sell the product online. So we were going through a change at that point in time. Telesales had pivoted to direct sales, and direct sales is like the AquaGuard model, wherein I will come to your house as a counselor, and that counselor are educated people, all engineers, they understand maths and science. So they will come to your house and talk to you, understand where your child is lacking, what help he requires, and then recommends the right level of product. So we were moving to that. Yeah. And the objective at that point in time from a business perspective was that make direct sales easy and reduce frictions when the counselor calls coming at your home. Just imagine some random person, you will not allow that person to come to your house. You will only allow known people to come, or very few people will ask them like 10, 15, 20 questions, will take months and months to give an appointment. So how do I increase my sales? So the challenge was not about marketing. The challenge was about sales and growth. And we had to address it as well as ensure that the laggards or the belly of the Indian population comes onto our fold. And the insight was very, very clear that once you make the discovery of the brand easy, the acceptance level also will happen. And then you have to make it the top of the mind. The objective was that, can I have BYJU'S as a dinner table conversation? Go home tonight and see what your dinner conversations are. You will be talking about the Mumbai CSK match tonight. You will be talking about the session which you attended, hopefully. You will talk about what plans you want to make on a Sunday afternoon. So that's your dinner table conversation. How do I become part of your dinner table conversation? So that was the single largest thing. And that was also our insight, where I need to get top of mind awareness for the brand and how should we do it. And as people say that you guys had a lot of money, you had a lot of attitude, you went and signed Shah Rukh, but it was a very, very thought through strategic discussion. It was not easy that one fine morning somebody woke up on the other side of the bed and we went and signed him because we had the money and he also had the time to do it. No, it was researched, it was discussed, like plethora of conversations happened. everybody in our organization had a point of view, because Bollywood and cricket, everybody has a point of view. So now whom to take as a brand ambassador was also a massive conversation. I've never had such detailed conversations ever in my entire career in terms of what we should be doing from a brand ambassador. But it came out very, very clearly. He was termed as the king of romance, and we are talking about romance in education, coming and falling in love with education. So a great synergy. Actor he was, because we wanted actors who can teach and teachers who can act, and he was the perfect fit. And more importantly, he was a parent and he was a teacher, and that's the reason SRK came on board. And it was not because we wanted to take pictures with SRK and all those things. It was a very, very, very serious strategic business decision. So now with SRK on board, we have to go mass, we have to become a dinner table conversation. So we had to do something very, very different. And this is the first SRK launch communication which we created.
कहते हैं जब प्यार हो जाता है तो वायलेंस बजने लगते हैं, बट फॉर अ चेंज इस लव स्टोरी का हीरो मैं नहीं। शुरू करो ना यार, तुमको भी बाइक हॉकर से हो जाएगा प्यार। ये एबीसी का टैग दिया, 4 पॉइंट्स को जॉइन किया, लेफ्ट राइट ऊपर नीचे शिफ्ट करके मार्क किया, फिर किया अलग ए स्क्वायर और बी स्क्वायर को, ए स्क्वायर प्लस बी स्क्वायर इक्वल टू सी स्क्वायर। काश हमारे टाइम में भी पढ़ाई कुछ ऐसी होती, एंड our mommies and daddies. So let our children fall in love with learning. Download BYJU'S, the learning app.
Yeah, and all said and done, SRK works. But there is nothing bigger than SRK in terms of what we have seen. He came back after 4 years, and you see the way his latest movie has done. So he works. SRK works, and we saw unprecedented growth. Earlier, the growth were like good 20-30% month on month, but this was like 50-60%, 70% growth, not year on year, month on month. So unprecedented growth happened as we got SRK on board. And with that, see, when you start growing money in the bank because the investors were very happy with what we were doing, we started doing a lot of experiments. We started doing the, apartment campaigns, the RWA campaigns. These are some of the snapshots. I'll quickly run through this. We expanded our base to kids zones, because when will you get a kid and the parent together? Monday to Fridays, the parents are going to office, kid is going to school. So weekends is when they are together. On weekends, they're also going out. So we had to identify congregation points where the parent and the child are together. So the time zones, the fun city, the kidzania, all these places is where we started putting our advertising, putting our communication, putting our kiosks, and talking to parents, educating them that what BYJU'S has to offer. And then the biggest things, then if we are doing so many things, why not we do anything with the schools? And that's the time in 2018, we launched season 1, which is Discovery School Super League. Due to the lack of time, I'm not elaborating anything on DSSL, but happy to do one more 45 minutes, half an hour, 45 minute session in terms of how a school network can be leveraged, and can talk about the DSSL, as we call it, Discovery School Super League, probably in the next session. But we did everything television, everything ATL, everything BTL, and the last part of the Trinity was school. And then we started this IP, which is the Discovery School Super League, with Discovery Communication as our lead partner, and going and doing a lot of stuff with the school. And we did some regular ATL campaigns and a lot of outdoors and digital and so on and so forth. Yeah. But now what happens is there is something which is called the media fatigue. There's something which is called boredom. So while you launched a Shah Rukh Khan ad, everything is a song and dance, everything is fine. But 3 months, 4 months, we burnt a lot of GRPs. But what was the problem? We had a single film. it was only one TVC, and there was a big amount of fatigue. And the business was spreading outside the metros to pan-India. So we had to do something wherein we appeal to every cultural nuance, to every language. And how do we do it? So we created a sort of a communication which was multiple in nature, keeping the core the same. And we termed this as the brand refresh. So we launched the brand with SRK, became a sort of a household name. I was personally still very unhappy that I am not part of the dinner table. I'm once in a while a part of the dinner table, but I wanted to be part of the dinner table for every evening. And that's the reason we went for the brand refresh. So we had about 5-6 advertising in this brand refresh. I'm only going to play 2. You can look up for the other advertising on the net, but you'll get a sense in terms of what I'm talking.
अरे भैया ऑनलाइन लर्निंग वर्निंग आ બધું શું છે मुझे तो कुछ समझ में नहीं आता है
अरे पप्पा यहाँ से एक बार समझ लेती हूँ तो फॉरएवर याद रहता है
वो रेवर या मम्मी का नाम याद नहीं रहता है
इनकी पढ़ाई को लेके हम इन्हें कितना कुछ सुनाते हैं अब थोड़ी इनकी भी सुन लेते हैं
विजुअल लर्निंग एट होम मेक्स लर्निंग इन स्कूल सो इजी
जस्ट डाउनलोड BYJU'S
You see the last slide, everything is still come fall in love with learning. So what I'm trying to say is that lot of brands which we see, we keeps on changing their core proposition, but thankfully we were fortunate enough that all the decision makers in the organization were on the same page, and we could keep the core, come fall in love with learning intact. Yeah. So we had like 5-6 ads, one a Gujarati version, a Bengali version, a Tamil version, a Punjabi version. So I'm playing just a couple of them to just for you guys to get a sense.
ऐप से मैथ सीखेगा तू भाई मेनू ते फुल डाउट है
और जब तक मेरे सारे डाउट क्लियर नहीं हो जाते ना I can keep going back to it.
हाँ कर ले तू अपनी मनमर्जी मम्मी जी सुनिया टिंसल की कह रहा है तू जानती है भाई जुनू
इनकी पढ़ाई को लेके हम इन्हें कितना कुछ सुनाते रहते हैं अब थोड़ी इनकी भी सुन लेते हैं
अगले लेसन पे जाने से पहले it clears all my doubts.
जस्ट डाउनलोड BYJU'S
And if you focus on the language which has been used, okay, I can keep on going back to back. So what was the understanding? In a textbook, I can go to chapter number 1 when I'm on chapter number 4 because I have the book. So same way, we were just replicating the same experience that if you have studied module number 4 and right now you're module number 9 or 10, you can always go back to it. And it's all about personalization. The personalization, because no child is the same. As we started doing this, we had to add the regional flavor to our communication. And then it was very simple. All the hard work was done. So you had to get somebody like Mohan Babu for Kerala, Mohanlal for Kerala. You had to get a Mahesh Babu for Telangana and AP. You had to get a Sudeep for Karnataka. And that's exactly what we did. So now one could easily say that after 2-3 years of hard work from 2015, second half till 2018, all the hard work has paid off. And now we have the ability to truly call ourselves a pan-India player and creating communication then which starts appealing to individual sections of the society.
അയ്യോ എന്റെ മക്കളെ കിടന്ന് ഉറങ്ങുന്നാണ്ടില്ലേ ഈ ആപ്പും വെച്ചിരുന്ന റിവിഷനായിരുന്ന നിന്റെയൊക്കെ പ്രായത്തിൽ ഞാൻ കണ്ണിതേ ഈർക്കിൽ വെച്ചോണ്ടാ റിവൈസ് ചെയ്യുന്നത്
ശാസ്ത്രമാര് പറയണതേ ബുദ്ധി വയസ്സിൽ നല്ലോണം ഉറങ്ങണം
ആ എന്നിട്ട് ശാസ്ത്രമൊക്കെ പറഞ്ഞ് പഠിക്കും നിനക്ക് വേണ്ടി
മനസ്സിലാക്കിയിരുന്ന് പഠിച്ചതിന് വീണ്ടും റിവൈസ് ചെയ്യേണ്ട ആവശ്യമില്ല അച്ഛന്റെ പ്രായത്തിൽ ഓർമ്മയുള്ളൂ
ഓ അപ്പൊ എനിക്കൊന്നും അറിയില്ല എന്ന്
എന്നാ ന്യൂട്ടൺസ് ലോ എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞേ
വളരെ സിമ്പിൾ അല്ലേ അത് ഞാൻ നിനക്ക് നാളെ പറഞ്ഞുതരാം
BYJU'S ആപ്പിലെ സിനിമ പോലുള്ള ലെസൺസ് പഠനം എളുപ്പവും രസകരവുമാക്കാൻ എന്നെ സഹായിക്കുന്നു
മനസ്സിലാക്കി പഠിച്ചാൽ ഇവർക്ക് കോൺസെപ്റ്റ്സ് എപ്പോഴും ക്ലിയർ ആയിരിക്കും ഇപ്പൊ തന്നെ ഡൗൺലോഡ് ചെയ്യൂ BYJU'S the all new and personalized learning app.
Come fall in love with learning.
This is Mohanlal, Malayalam. So again, multiple regional ads were created, keeping the same type of tonality, talking about parent, don't worry. I'm studying. You don't have to worry so much. I'm spending time on the screen and I'm doing well. And I am falling in love with learning. And as we came closer to 2018, we were on a high, and we were like really, really high because we had seen some massive growth in the downloads from where we started with a 1 million target. And if you just do the indexation over here, which I've done, it was like showing unprecedented growth, and we ended on a very, very big high. And then enters 2019, and according to me, this is one of the 19 and 20 are the monumental years in our journey. And we launched DSSL season, so Discovery School Super League. And just to give you a quick, I cannot stop myself not talking about DSSL. It's very, very close to my heart. Every year we do 30,000+ schools, 30,000 schools in India as we go and physically meet the parents and students and create a sort of an engagement. So season 2 was launched as we entered 2019. And that's the year we launched our second offering, which is for classes 1 to 3. BYJU'S, the learning app, is for classes 4 to classes 10. But we had no offering, no product. And that's the time we launched Disney BYJU'S Early Learn. Yeah, and it was also our gateway to the West. And we were looking at expanding into all the English-speaking countries, the Commonwealth countries. And the first approach was to go directly to the West and look at Canada and the US. So Disney BYJU'S, Disney, a global company, a very, very big brand, very reputed, very credible brand globally. And if Disney and BYJU'S comes together, I don't see a reason why a young parent of a 5-6-year-old kid who is in like standard first or second will mind having Disney characters teaching you maths and science. Yeah, so Disney BYJU'S partnership, it was not a marketing partnership. It was a business deal between Disney and BYJU'S. It was specially crafted to create early learning program for young India, for younger students. Yeah, and the core understanding which we got again through research and insight and everything what you talk about, that you are your child's first teacher. A parent can help the child become an active learner and make conceptual understanding fun and easy. You think about it. When the child starts walking, who is teaching him to walk? The family, the parent is doing it. Who teaches to start, when the child starts talking, it's the parent who teaches him how to talk and everything. So you think about it. A parent is always the child's first teacher. And that was our core insight. And everything around Disney BYJU'S Early Learn is about the parent being the first teacher. And the most beautiful part of this, using Disney characters like Frozen, Cars, Minnie, Mickey, Toy Story, Disney princesses, the Rapunzels, the Cinderellas, with personalized journey. Just imagine this type of content, very well curated, very well approved by Disney, because Disney is a global company, so they have very, very strict standards that what they communicate to the child. And they are in partnership, not a marketing one, but a business one, to create content together. And we had the platform. We had a great platform, which was the 2019 ICC Cricket World Cup in London, favorable India time. So again, lot of hard work which went into it, which was, creating the media strategy, the communication strategy, where will we advertise, how will we advertise, what are the launch medium, what TV percentage of spends, how much in digital, how much on cricket, and so on and so forth. So a lot of work to plan the launch. And this is what the Disney BYJU'S Early Learn communication launch or the brand launch looks like.
Drag and drop each shape to the correct box. Awesome! Amazing! Well done!
Yes, do one!
We are our kids' first teachers. And when we make early learning fun, we make them better learners for life. Introducing Disney BYJU'S Early Learn app. It's beautiful when kids enjoy and learn. Download now for classes 1 to 3, for classes 4 to 12.
Okay, and overwhelming results in the first 3 weeks of launch. This is the apps flyer data. The tech guys and the product guys will understand what I'm talking about. We saw a massive jump in the downloads. So the communication was accepted by the top of the pop strata, the early young parents, and at least especially in the metros, the communication was accepted, the business was accepted, the brand was accepted, and we got some overwhelming results. And while 0 to 1 happened, 10 to 100 happened, but the challenge was, now we did everything. We launched Disney Baiju, we had Shah Rukh, we had mass advertising, everything happened. But how do we go from 100 to 1,000 was the big question. Again, a lot of conversation, debate, deliberation, internally, externally, everything happened. And then we partnered with the BCCI to become the principal team sponsorship with the Indian cricket team. It was close to about 39-40 months of sponsorship. And it also gave us the next big philosophical opportunity to move from our core. Our core is come fall in love with learning. But how will you fall in love with learning? You have to keep on learning. As a young student, as a test prep, as young parents, and even people like us, we need to keep learning every day. If you learn something every day, you will start falling in love with that particular thing. And that's the high order philosophy which we took. And the Indian cricket team sponsorship gave us that opportunity. And in my 18-20 years of experience, I have never had so much of fun, so much of nerves when we decided to do this communication. Personally, I feel this was my most satisfying communication which I have worked on, and something which will remain a lifelong memory, which was the launch of the jersey with BYJU'S branding on it.
This is more than a jersey. When I'm in it, I'm not just a player, I'm a student. In this jersey, I learn how to win with grace, or lose, but never lose face. I learn that victory is best shared,
and sorrows are best well left.
I learn how to ride the highs.
I learn how to hide the lows.
Every match, every inning. It has taught me to carry the weight of a billion budding dreams. This is not just a jersey. It's a reminder to never stop learning. Keep learning. BYJU'S.
And as the sponsorship comes in, there'll be a lot of byproduct benefits which all brands get, we also got. But the most important thing is, it's just not a jersey. It's not just a jersey sponsorship. Again, because we had the money, so we could go and become the principal sponsor of the thing. Because there is nothing bigger than sports. No education will teach you hard work. No education, academics, not education, sorry. No academics will teach you the commitment, the passion, the teamwork, the leadership, helping your team member so the team can win. You will lose some days, you will win some days, you will have those highs and have those lows. So sports plays a very, very critical role in imparting the soft skills of leadership, commitment, hard work. Just imagine 1.4 billion people, 11 people go and play the game of cricket, or 11 people go and play the game of football. You have to be super, super talented, but that super talent is also not enough. There's immense amount of hard work, there's immense amount of failures, and you come out of that, and that's what sports offers. So from a strategic perspective, a lot of people again said that, oh, these guys have the money and that's why they're going and doing this ICC and BCCI and FIFA and all those things. No, it is not that. There's a strategy behind that, because what academics will teach you is math, science, physics, chemistry, biology. What sports teaches you is the life skills, the soft skills, the leadership, the teamwork, the commitment, the passion. So that's the reason education and sports is two to tango and always works together. And that's the reason we did that with our core theme of a higher order philosophy of keep learning and keep winning. And then we enter 2020. We announced season 3 and 2020, 22nd March. I think none of us will forget this day. right? The curfew was announced and start of an extended lockdown. Nobody anticipated. And we were like on a high, yeah. We wanted to start, and in fact, we started the first 2-3 months with a bang, but everything was a full stop. Everything stopped. We were not prepared. The business was not prepared. Forget the healthcare was not prepared. The country was not prepared. The government, none of us were prepared, right? We all know this, but we had to do something. We had to do something so unique. Because what is to happen is, we knew what at that point in time. It was very commonsensical. The first thing to shut down would be schools. And the last thing to open up is schools. So what happens? Parents were very anxious about their child not learning. There is going to be a learning loss. How do we mitigate the loss of learning? And that's the time the entire organization, I'm sure all your organization, everybody, community, friends, family, everybody came together, and so did the organization came together to take this as a challenge, not to earn money, not to create a bigger brand, not to create a bigger business, but to make it a super successful year in terms of ensuring that we minimize or we mitigate the learning loss. And that's the time we converted our paid business into free live classes. India's favorite teacher offered free classes for all students, thereby ensuring no learning loss. It was a very, very small gesture from our side to make education accessible to everyone. And this is the sort of communication we played out to let the world know.
Hello children, we are all up against a crisis. But if you look at history, human willpower has always come out victorious because we have this unique gift of adapting and, more importantly, learning. I'm proud that as a nation, we are doing our best, but we don't want your learning to stop. And that's why at BYJU'S, we have made our learning app free. Additionally, our teachers are coming together to take live classes 3-4 times a week. To attend these free classes, you can just download the BYJU'S app. Stay safe and keep learning.
Yeah, so this is what we did. But as like, lockdown 1 happened, then some things opened up, then lockdown 2 happened, which was quite a difficult phase. Again, opening happened, lockdown 3. So we were going through those phases. But as we made our business free, as we had more and more students participating in our live classes, we had to also think about the business. And at that point in time, the challenge was, well, BYJU'S has been established, I'm assuming at that point in time, or at least from my expectation, we sort of became a dinner table brand or dinner table conversation, but we had to establish the efficacy amongst parents that even during the time of lockdown, even when your child is not going to a regular tuition or to a school, BYJU'S is helping you out through the online content which it has created to ensure there is no learning loss and become synonymous with self-learning. Because at home, you'll have to do self-learning. There is no teacher. There is no 9-to-4 schools. Everything has to be self-learning. So how do we become synonymous? This thing, and that will only happen. So we had to ensure that the parent and the kid are friends, because we have seen in our houses, right? The parent is shouting, "Tum padhai karo, pure din TV dekhte rehte ho," because mom, dad, uncle, aunt, families, everybody is staying at home. There is a lot of things happening from a health perspective, but the parent is always, telling the child to study, and the child is not liking that because he's not getting to meet his friends. He's not able to go out. We were frustrated sitting at home for so many months. Have we ever thought that what our children would have gone through? No friends, no physical activity, nothing. So they were becoming very irritable, and so were the parents. So the insight was that how do we make the parents become partners to their child, friends to their child? And that's what we and it was a lockdown. Shah Rukh Khan has work. So what do? We went to Shah Rukh, we told him, "Sir, itna bada business hai, itna sab acha kaam ho raha hai." And he was also, he's a phenomenal partner to the business. He said, "Nothing, don't do anything. I will shoot by myself." So the shoot was done. The next 2 communication which you go to see, while it was done on a green screen and a lot of VFX and all those things have been used, but this was shot at Manni. And Shah Rukh directed the shoot because nobody could go to his house either. So he was the director, he was the actor, he was the lightsman. The only two people who were doing the shoot, and he shot by himself. And then we juxtapose everything from a production perspective. And this is the only, and I also feel very proud to talk about it. This is the only ad which we shot inside his house, or shot ever inside his house. And all of us were like on Zoom calls, ghost directing, ye karo, wo angle acha nahi hai, ye yahan se light kam ho raha hai, Shahrukh ye line aap aise boliye. So again, a experience which probably would have never happened had a partner like Shahrukh would have not been there. Yeah, so this is what we shot.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. तो पेरेंट्स जिन्हें लगता है कि पढ़ाई की प्रोग्रेस इस साल रुक गई है, प्रेजेंट। पेरेंट्स जिनके बच्चों को और पर्सनल अटेंशन चाहिए, प्रेजेंट। प्रेजेंट। पेरेंट्स जिन्हें अपने एरिया में अच्छे ट्यूशंस नहीं मिल रहे, प्रेजेंट। तो आपको चाहिए ऐसी क्लासेस जो है किसी भी ट्यूशन से क्लास अप है। इंट्रोड्यूसिंग बायजूस क्लासेस।
गुड आफ्टरनून।
वेलकम टू बायजूस क्लासेस।
इंडिया के बेस्ट टीचर्स बच्चों को पढ़ाएंगे, मेंटर्स डाउट सॉल्व करेंगे और वन-on-one पर्सनल अटेंशन भी देंगे। हाई क्वालिटी वीडियोस तो हैं ही बायजूस ऐप पर। तो अब स्कूल के बाद सिर्फ बायजूस क्लासेस। तो आज ही ट्रायल क्लास बुक करो। विजिट byju's.com। बायजूस क्लासेस हैं तो प्रोग्रेस है।
And in 2020, it was also the year of acquisition. We acquired a lot of companies like Akash, Topper, White Hat Junior, like about 14, 15 acquisitions. So it was a very, very busy time. It was very, very exciting time for all of us. And then, as I said, sports is a critical part for a child's development, at least in the initial years, the school years. So we didn't have much of an footprint in school, in football at a school level and at a club level. So we went and became partners with Kerala Blasters, and it was a beginning of a solid innings. We also became global sponsors or global partners with ICC to keep the philosophy of keep learning and keep winning going forward, because by that time our businesses was also available. We had done small initiatives. So we were present in the US, Canada, and especially the Commonwealth countries, the Queen's country, which is Australia, England, to a great extent, South Africa, a little bit of New Zealand. And then all these guys play cricket, and then the ICC World Cup became a part of our journey. And global partnership and a lot of byproduct benefits. The brand became much more visible. From India, it went to international markets where people started asking, and exactly the same journey what we went through from 2015 till 2020 in India, the same journey has started in other markets. Yeah, but 2020 will be known as the pandemic year. We lost family members, friends, colleagues, businesses were shut down, many lost their livelihood. But something which really makes us feel good, that whatever we could do as an organization, as individuals, we somehow tried to minimize the loss of learning. And that's something which we are very proud of, and again will remain with us forever. Yeah. We stood strong, we overcame the difficulties and laid a strong foundation to kickstart 2021. And we also celebrated, you would have recalled this, that when India defeated Australia in Australia, that we were all out for 36 in one of those matches, and then the Rishabh Pant creating history. So this was the front page ad. This is available. You should read the text which is on the advertising. Will show you the essence of learning about failure and standing up from failure, and then going for the kill, keeping your mind clear and all those things. So something which we did, we saw a lot of failures, we saw a lot of other things, but we also celebrated some wins. And then comes 2021 with open arms. Again, the same thing. Every year there are new challenges which comes in. What happened is, okay, 2021, schools went online. And now the parents' worry was that learning loss तो ठीक है, अभी वो घर पे भी कैसे पढ़ेगा, स्कूल में भी कैसे पढ़ेगा, सब कुछ कैसे साथ में होएगा. That to make parents realize that you can be friend to your child and education will be fun. So the core remains the same. It was more of a rehash, but we had to address the parents' concern, and parents can be partners to a child.
आजकल बिना बोले पढ़ने लगा है. No idea why.
आजकल पढ़ने को बोलती ही नहीं है. No idea why.
So LHS is greater than RHS.
No, LHS is equal to RHS. समझा ब्रो?
कॉन्सेप्ट समझाने लगा है. क्या बात है.
फोन के लिए नहीं टोका. बात क्या है?
पता नहीं कहाँ भाव किसने क्या क्या बोल खिलाया है. समाज में तो मेरा सर झुक गया इस परिवार के रंगरेलियों की वजह से.
ये बच्चे कब इतने रिस्पॉन्सिबल बन गए यार. ओए अब ब्रेक ले ले यार पार्टनर.
मम्मी कब इतनी कूल बन गई यार.
समझ के पढ़ते हैं तो इनका दिल लग जाता है और पेरेंट से पार्टनर तक का फासला तय हो जाता है. BYJU'S download
was the first non-SRK communication after signing SRK, and we could not deliver the magic. The magic never happened. Flat line for months. Well, these are all index and numbers which are indexed out, but it was a flat line for 3 months, 4 months. I'm then thinking that I need to put more money in advertising. I'm running the same advertising, created a better frequency, a higher OTS, more GRPs, more weeks on, and everything which we did, but it was not doing. And as we moved into the second half of 2021, the country started opening up. So 1-2 years, there was nothing. So the big picture, the KBC, the Big Boss, the Kapil Sharma show, the Khatron Ke Khiladi, the Saregama, everything started coming back. And everybody came back with a vengeance because 2 years, 1.5 years, the participants, the judges, the channels, the broadcasters, everybody was sitting at home like you and me. So everybody wanted to come out and then create their big properties and put it into the consumer and to the advertisers. And we did exactly the same thing. We tied up with the biggest shows of 2021. We did KBC, we did MasterChef, we did Super Singer, and the list. We had some 35 such initiatives just to ensure that I still remain the household name. I want to still be part of the dinner conversation. So we have to do constant advertising, constant reminder, constant innovation. And that's exactly what we attempted to do. And we found a great opportunity with KBC. We got KBC inside the app and we got app onto the hot seat.
कब तक अपने बच्चे के हुनर और काबिलियत के बारे में पड़ोसियों और रिश्तेदारों को बताएंगे? अब मौका है. हॉट सीट पर आएंगे? कैसे? ऐसे. यदि आपके बच्चे की उम्र 8 से 15 साल के बीच है तो केबीसी स्टूडेंट स्पेशल वीक में वो आ सकते हैं हॉट सीट पे. उसके लिए BYJU'S ऐप डाउनलोड कीजिए और 3 सितंबर से 12 सितंबर तक आपके बच्चे को कुछ सवालों के देने होंगे सही जवाब. टॉप स्कोरर जो होंगे हॉट सीट पर आकर खेलेंगे मेरे साथ. तो भरिए उड़ान, दिखाइए ज्ञान. कब तक अपने.
And this is one more thing, completely unscripted. This is what the child spoke, the way he spoke. We didn't even know who the winners were, but I thought it's important to see that are we building love? Are we building love for education? And this is one of those reasons why we think that we have done a reasonably good job in building brand love for BYJU'S.
फराज, किसने दिया आपको इतना सब ज्ञान? खुद पढ़ा है आपने कि मम्मी से मिला, पापा से मिला या बड़े भाई साहब से?
सर, सबसे पहले तो मैंने इंटरनेट का सहारा लिया अपने स्टडीज के लिए, क्योंकि उसके लेटेस्ट करंट अफेयर्स जो मैंने पढ़े थे उनका मैंने सहारा लिया. उसके बाद मैंने जो अपनी NCERT बुक्स थी उनको थॉरली पढ़ा, जिससे मुझे उनके सिलेबस रिलेटेड जितना भी एरिया है वो मुझे पता चल सके. तीसरा, मैंने BYJU'S ऐप का सहारा लिया स्पेशली फॉर साइंस, क्योंकि उसके जो इंटरैक्टिव वीडियोस थे वो बहुत ही एक्सीलेंट थे और जो उसके बीच में क्वेश्चंस आते थे उसके में हमारा कॉन्सेप्ट बिल्कुल क्लियर हो जाता था. और आखिर में मेरे भाई ने मेरी थोड़ी हेल्प.
भाई ने आपकी मदद की. राज.
Start of the academic year, usually schools open up in May, June, and that's the time we launch our beloved initiative, which is Discovery School Super League. So 2021 launch of season 4 happened. And just to give you a snapshot, it was schools were not totally open. Some schools were open, but even in that pandemic year, we ended up doing 25,000 schools. We had about 25 lakh students participation and making it the world's largest school contact program ever. Yeah, and then a huge show and tell through episodes and everything. Now, we had to relaunch SRK, we had to relaunch the brand, because the previous advertising without SRK did not deliver the type of results we were expecting, while all this KBC and Big Boss and all those things gave us a good visibility, but the brand core was not getting established. So the challenge at that point in time was the superior alternative to your offline tuitions, because schools have started opening up, students are going to offline classes, offline tuitions, that how online learning is a bit superior to offline learning because of the two-teacher advantage which we have. To get users to sign up for their BYJU'S classes as their primary after-school learning solution. I am not saying that don't go to school. That's your core. You have to go to a school. Nobody's trying to desell a school. But what we are trying to say is that how do we get to be your primary after-school learning solution? Yeah. And the insight was that kids go to neighborhood tuitions. And if I'm able to create that neighborhood in your house, then I will be winning the race. And that's exactly what we tried to do.
बच्चों पास आओ, listen good. स्टोरी खुशी की जो स्कूल में बनी too good. लेकिन पहले फ्लैशबैक. खुशी तो जाती थी रेगुलर ट्यूशंस, साइंस और मैथ्स में तब भी था कंफ्यूजन. तभी मॉम को मिला a tuition that's new age. Two teachers का double advantage. Mommies and daddies, ये है solution. BYJU'S classes, the future of tuitions. जहाँ इंडिया के top teachers concept समझाएं और class teachers doubts clear भी कराएं. अब तो marks अच्छे होंगे, ये तो understood है.
ये तो too good है.
जब tuition too good, तो results
too good.
BYJU'S classes with the two-teacher advantage. Attend a free class. Download BYJU'S app now.
Okay, so this is what is our journey. I have not, again, because of lack of time, 2022 is a completely different year. A lot of things happened. The business went through a lot of restructuring. And you have been reading about us in the newspapers and all the conversation which might be happening on social media. So I've deliberately not captured 2022 in terms of how the 2022 journey looks like. Because lack of time, and there is a lot of ambiguity around that front, and we're still putting our pieces together as for 22 and 23 is concerned. But this is what we have been doing from 2021. So if you look at till 2021, after doing everything what we ended up doing, we had a presence, we had students studying through our app, through our content in 17+100 cities in the country. We had close to about 100 million downloads. We had about 6.5 million paid subscribers. On an average, 71% students, time spent is 71 minutes, and a renewal rate of about 86%, and thereby becoming the world's most loved edtech company and the creator of K-12 app. And we also launched something, again, which I'm very, very proud of, something which is very, very big and very, very strategic to everything which we do, is education for all. As we speak, 5.5 million underprivileged students are getting access to quality education. Yeah, and our large stated objective is for every paid user, which the ecosystem will have, we want to have one free user. So education is available to all. Accessibility to quality education is available to all, and that's our education for all. And that's the marketing at BYJU'S 2015 to 2021. And just to summarize that, why brand love happened. We strongly believe the brand love has happened. It was because of 3-4 key reasons. We were true to our approach, making students fall in love with learning, which is our philosophy, our core proposition, and then driving the larger philosophy of keep learning. If you keep learning, you will like that subject, you will like that profession. Yeah. Always and always we have gone back to the consumers with deep research and to get that consumer understanding, the consumer insights, and to have very, very clear, articulated, measurable communication objectives and measurable marketing objectives and well articulated jobs to them. तुम्हारा काम क्या है? तुमको काम करना है कि तुमको point A से point B जाना है, right? If somebody tells you to go from point A to point B, you should know how to do that, and that's exactly what we were fortunate to have, that clarity, that understanding amongst the leadership and all of us together. So we were able to articulate the jobs to be done. I personally believe that we maintain consistency in the communication. Product window and core communication was all about learning. Everywhere where you see the product window, where earlier ads where BYJU'S himself is to come and do those Pythagoras theorems and pi r square and all those things, to the latest advertising where we have other teachers, but it's all always about learning and nothing beyond learning. And we never portrayed parents as somebody who is shouting at the child for not studying or threatening the child that if you don't study you will remain a gadha and all those things. We always portrayed parents as friends, partner to the child, and somehow got the buy-ins from parents and kept students at heart of every communication. So a lot of love, lot of heart, lot of effort, lot of luck, and everything else worked out for us. I think the combination all came together. We say that for things to become successful, stars should align, and for us, the stars aligned in the first 5-6 years. So that's the marketing at BYJU'S, building brand love. Happy to take questions.
Thank you so much, Atit. That was really, really an incredible.
Sorry, I went like 10 minutes above time. I'm sorry. I tried to curtail it.
I am not regretting that at all. I'm pretty sure with the comments that have been coming, I'm pretty sure nobody absolutely will find that. I mean, I personally have to say and this is something, I mean, all of us, we have definitely seen all the advertisement that come by BYJU'S, how SRK has been coming, or how different people have been coming from different regional industries, how you guys have targeted. But just watching that story flow through like that was very incredible experience. And I literally, when you were playing that BCCI wala Indian cricket team wala advertisement, right? I mean, that video was like, it was inspiring me. It was giving me chill to my bones. So it was really.
No, I still get goosebumps, Dave. I still get goosebumps. You know, and I tell the team and all of us, and Tanay is here and he will agree to that, that lot of times, you know, every day is not a great day. But you just go back and just play this video for like that 60 seconds, and it just gives you that energy and the mojo back when you are down at work. And that's something which, again, as I said, something which was my favorite 1.5 months of work in my entire career, putting this thing together.
Yep, definitely. Not just that, even that creative that you guys had made after that India-Australia series, right? I mean, I'm a huge cricket lover, and all the cricket lovers in the room will definitely know how big that series was, and the kind of content you had written around it. That was super inspiring. But yeah, just saving the interest of time, I can go on and on about how I really love the session. But I would definitely open the floor for Q&A. We already had a few people list down the questions. So I'm just quickly going to run through it, and I'm going to ask the individual people to just unmute themselves and quickly take up the question. So the first question that we had was from Ash. So Ash, you want to unmute yourself? He basically wanted to understand with regards to the second creative you played, did that address the parents' concern of how the nature of the content was framed around? And how was the screen time concern addressed?
I'll quickly try to answer. Question number one, the screen time. Yes. So see, what happened is after playing that communication, parents were okay, and they were doing like a sort of a monitoring. They might not be sitting and breathing down my neck, but somewhere they are peeping and finding out what they're doing. So as long as the child is doing educational viewing, parents were okay. And we told them that it's okay to let a child learn from a device, whether it's a tablet or laptop or a mobile screen, as long as they're not playing a mobile game. So somewhere the concern got addressed. Yes.
So Murli Krishnan actually had 2 or 3 different questions. One question that he wanted to understand, or more of like a general wondering, was that how did you work out that brand fit between BYJU'S and BCCI? Because coming from EdTech and venturing into the cricket team, how did you figure that out? That was one question. Second was that he was very keen about if SRK is the only reason you got in the brand now, and also the brand, do you think it's right to change your strategy or like approach towards your marketing efforts every 3 years? So these were the few questions that he had listed down. If you just want to take it one by one.
Yeah, so I think I spoke about that why sports came into our fray, and it's not only about cricket but everything sports. It's not only about cricket. We also partnered FIFA, we also partnered volleyball, we did something with kabaddi, we did the World Cup hockey in Bhubaneswar, which happened 2-3 years ago, the 2 World Cups. So it's everything sports. I think I spoke about that. The second question, because of Shah Rukh the brand love has happened. Shah Rukh has been an enabler. The content has been the enabler. Marketing has been the enabler. There are multiple enablers to reach the stage where we are in. I think nobody can take credit in terms of what has happened, but everybody has played a role, and SRK has played a stellar role in whatever he was supposed to do for the brand, and he has delivered. So it's one of the aspects, or one of the reasons, one of the enablers why we are here.
So if I could just interrupt, well, you did say he was an enabler. So do you think content worked for you the way that you kind of went out? Your messaging worked, or did the celebrity work? So I was coming to that. In most cases, I come from an advertising background. I have worked in advertising for 20 years with the likes of Ogilvy, Mudra, Wonderman Thompson. And I also used to work with a group of educational institutes before I started off on my own. So my question there was clearly, was it content that worked, or was it celebrity that worked?
I think the biggest thing which worked was the educational content which we created. I can get the biggest names here. I can put the biggest check value on the table. But what am I trying to sell you? I'm selling you service, and service is education, right? And I'm selling you educational content. So the biggest thing which has worked is the way the storytelling of a Pythagoras theorem. Just imagine to explain in a 3-minute or a 4-minute video that how does your heart pump blood to the rest of your body. While the teacher can explain, you can see those black and white diagrams in your textbook. But if it can be explained in that 2.5-minute video, which is the hero of the journey, everything else is surround sound.
Got it. And my last question was, I don't know whether it's by design or default for BYJU'S that every 3 years, 2015, 2018, 2021, you kind of kept changing your messaging. While the core was learning, you started off with, the love for learning, keep love, and then, you kept continuing that, and then you moved to keep learning. So do you think, is it by design or default that over the last 6 years or the last 9 years, you've kind of gotten a change in strategy? Or while learning is core, you kind of kept changing strategies, what I felt. As a strategist, as a creative strategist, I feel it wasn't right to do it every 3 years. While consumer insight drove what you were doing, the strategy, I felt you kept changing more often. So,
no, fair enough. So the change in the landscape, the competitive landscape, the adaptability, the times, and there are multiple factors will help you decide that what is the best way to communicate your message, keeping the underlying thought the same. And we kept the underlying thought the same. The way it's got communicated, yeah, it's been changing over 2-3 years, but that's the demand of the market, that's the nature of the business, and that's the way the landscape is changing, because competition has started coming in, hybrid classes have started coming in, schools have reopened. So a lot of other things happened which wasn't the case in 2015. Life is completely different from 2018 to 2022. So yeah, one needs to do it. It may look like that it's happening too often, but I think it's as per the demand of the business and what we believe will work, and we tried attempting doing that.
Great. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Murli, and thank you, Atit, for that wonderful explanation. Quickly moving on to the next couple of questions. So Ram Kumar from Milligold, right? He had a question about the debate about the market share growth versus profitability growth, about sustainability, and what is the role of brand builders in this entire journey?
Yeah, so see, what has happened is, yes, all these things came at a cost, and as we go forward, and that's what all businesses needs to do, and that's exactly what we are trying to do, is that the path to profitability needs to be created, growth trajectory has to happen, and we are on that journey. From a marketing brand building perspective, we are like super fortunate that we have established the brand. Yeah, so even, for example, even if one has to take a 6 months break and not advertise or not communicate what we stand for or what we have to offer, the residual imagery of the brand is so strong, which has been built over last 4-5 years. I don't see a major problem. Yes, there will be new challenges, there will be new things which one will have to look at, but I think the business and the brand is pretty safe. Even if one has to move towards profitability and marketing spends are coming down.
Bala had a couple of questions, so I will let him unmute and take up the lead on the questions, because he had 2-3 different kind of questions.
Yeah, hi, this is Bala. And yeah, so because of bandwidth issues, I cannot switch on the camera, but I had 3 questions for Atit. The first question is, I mean, it's very interesting when he actually said that the telecalling for the rural population was actually not working as well, and as well as for the urban population, and then they sort of understood that they have to go and talk to them, and then why would they talk to them, and then you become a household name. So after they did that, my first question is, after they did that, they started Shah Rukh came into picture, it became a household name, then did the rate of conversion for the rural increase after that was done? So I'm assuming you must have continued the telecalling after that. So has it sort of increased? How much did it increase?
Yes, it increased. There were 3 or 4 ways of looking at it. Something which we calculate is WRPS, weekly average revenue per salesperson. So it went up from X to Y. Second thing is the time taken to close a lead to a final sale, the time taken came down. Yeah. So for example, if a salesperson is doing 100 calls and needs to do 2 sales in a week, he could make 120, 130, 150 calls, because then he did not have to spend time explaining what online education is all about, because marketing did that job of landing yourself into the household, and then when somebody is coming and trying to talk about it, you are at least aware of it. You are not on a like completely blind about it. So time taken to have a conversation started coming down. The friction, at least in rural areas, started coming down. So whenever the person used to go meet them, call up, at least people used to not bang down the phone. Exactly what you and me do when random people from credit card companies and insurance policies and all these guys keep on calling you up. But today, my rate of acceptance on a call is much more higher than anybody else. Reason being that education is something which everybody wants to understand and see what is best for them. The brand is there in your mind, the top of mind is there. You have seen the advertising, you've seen the communication. So the day I call you up, at least you'll give me that 1 minute, 1.5 minutes to listen me out. And then if you're interested, you take the conversation. If you're not, you hang up the conversation, but at least you're not banging the phone on my face.
Thank you so much, Atit. I mean, this was super useful. I have a follow-on question. I mean, see, the reason why I ask you this is we are a vocational training company and work a lot with the rural population. So the follow-on question that I had is typically, let's say from the conversation that you make, Okay, and then you've spoken to a person, and then by the time that person becomes your subscriber or buys your product, okay, let us say, I mean, whatever be your conversions rate may be much higher than what's happening with us and all those, but usually how many times do you actually contact a person before the conversion happens?
No, so see, there is no standard rule in that, because a lot of things, it depends upon the consumer. See, somebody might be unaware in terms of how the mentorship program runs. Somebody might be having questions on language. Listen, no, my child goes to an English medium school, but we as parents have always studied in vernacular. So how do we manage? वो question किसको पूछेगा? कब call कर सकता है? कौन से number पे? So there are multiple stuff. So the number of interaction, it varies. I need to go back and check the numbers, that which is the least question asked and which are the most asked questions. But it is quite difficult to put a number to it, because every child who's becoming a subscriber, or every household which has become a subscriber, is having a different set of questions. The good part is we have a huge post-sales, pre-sales and CRM team sitting out of Bangalore offices, and their only job is to answer each and every query. We are trying to do it on real time, but at least within the day we are trying to answer those questions.
Yeah, thank you so much for that. And I had one last question for you. I mean, it is I mean, at least for an organization like mine, I mean, we haven't been able to raise funds so far. So having a brand ambassador like Shah Rukh is a pretty far-fetched right now. So then at this point in time, I just wanted to understand, how do you, I mean, this is an advice for me rather, you know, Atit, from your side, how do I really become a household name in the rural population for employment if I do not have so much money to really invest in marketing? Any advice from you on that?
No, I cannot, but it's very difficult to give advice. I don't know what business you are into it, but only one simple thing. As per you, who's the hero of your product? What is the hero of your product?
The hero of my product is the job. Is getting the person a job.
Yeah, so it's basically providing service and getting employment to the unemployed.
Training them for employment, yes.
No, it's getting the job or giving them training.
Then that's the trick, right? I mean, for him, it's getting the job, but the employer, it is giving the training.
No, what is your hero product? Bala, I think this will take some time. We can do an offline conversation next week.
So,
happy to see if I can help you.
I'm so sorry, just in order to save time, because I think we've already overshot by 20 minutes. We already have a list of few more questions, but what I'll do is that we can take it up in a secondary association. I can definitely get all your questions answered by Atit. But I guess we'll put it to a wrap for today. And I would, again, on behalf of ProdWrks and Siam Computing, I would like to thank Atit and all the members for joining the event today. This event was actually brought to you by ProdWrks in partnership with Siam Computing, and of course in partnership with Atit from BYJU'S. And if you'd want to attend more such events and content, please make sure that you're signing up on the link in the chat that Harsha is going to be just putting. And we are hosting events on a regular basis like this, on a monthly basis, and we also send weekly insights in our newsletter. Again, on behalf of the whole ProdWrks and Siam Computing, I would like to thank Atit for bringing us to such an amazing journey and experience of BYJU'S, how they have gone through in the last 7 or 8 years. With that, I think we'll sign off for today. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Atit, and everybody have a wonderful day and weekend.
Thank you. This was super useful and inspiring. Thank you very much.
Thank you. One last thing before we all sign up. Now you've heard about BYJU'S. If you have not downloaded us, please download. 15 days is free trial, and if you have a child, come, at least allow my sales guys to come and meet you. You might just get a different experience. We all have to market and sell, and I leave no opportunity to talk about the brand. So I think great set of people, a lot of parents here. Download the app, meet my counselor, my salesperson, and try out the BYJU'S product. Thank you very, very much.
Yes, now you all know the entire journey that BYJU'S has gone through and what makes BYJU'S what it is today, right? We all just see the advertisement, the popularity behind the app, but the actual story and the actual people delivering that value which we are actually able to see flow through into our kids' development over the years. So yes, BYJU'S has definitely earned one more all-time fan, which is me, with not just from the marketing standpoint, but just from the value that the product delivers. I don't have a kid, but I'll definitely advise other people around me to be getting on BYJU'S platform at the earliest. And please, sincere request to everyone, please go check out the app. Please advise everybody around you, whoever is a potential person who can download the app and who can benefit from it, please do that.
Thanks. Hey, thanks, ProdWrks team. Definitely subscribing. Can't wait for the next event. But Atit, I know you pulled off the marketing, but I think even tougher was encapsulating 8 years, 9 years of that journey into that 1 hour of presentation. I don't know how you managed that, but you told the entire story. So hats off on that.
Thank you very much. Thank you.